if you're if you start thinking that my life is very miserable, all the bad things are happening to me, so actually brain will start thinking that everything is happening. It may be happening, it may not be happening. You're just making it up. You're just, you know, um, thinking excessively about the negative things. So brain will start thinking that this is happening, and in the same direction, the brain will start getting activated, or the brain will start supplying the chemicals, or it will start secreting the hormones or the chemicals, and that thing will increase in your life. On the other side, even if you are not feeling happy, but you start thinking about it, that okay, my life is very good, whatever happening is fine, it happens with everybody, right? Or everywhere I go, I get welcomed by everyone, although you may not be welcome. But you have to start thinking like that. I'm going to pass this exam. Although it looks a little difficult, I'm studying maybe after 8 years, I may be studying after 10 years, but I can still do it. When you start thinking that, brain start working in the same direction. It will make the condition of your thinking, it will make the condition of your cognition, it will make the condition of your muscles favorable to do that task. Definitely you will have, if you're thinking about anything physically, that okay, I can run 5 kilometers. I can run 5 kilometers today, I just ran 100 meters, I got tired, but I can still do it. I can still do it. Alright guys? But when you start thinking, brain will start processing the whole of the information in that direction. It will start stimulating your muscles in that direction. Definitely you will need the physical effort after that. Right? Same thing with passing your exam. If you think it, when they say that what you think that happens, that is scientifically true. It is not just like a philosophical thing that okay, what you're thinking will happen. It is scientifically, it will happen. There is a science behind it. So whatever you think will happen, right? If you visualize, yes, writing thank you note for yourself, or if you visualize yourself every day getting up in the morning that yes, I'm a physical therapist, I'm going to be a registered physical therapist, I'm going to be a licensed physical therapist, and I'm working on it. Nobody can stop me from getting there. You will definitely pass, definitely nobody can stop it and stop you from getting there. Nobody can. If something unfavorable will occur, like maybe the COVID, maybe it is possible something happens, exam center get closed, everything occur for a reason. But in that time, still if you keep thinking that it's alright, if it happens, that's alright, this may not be my time, maybe next time I will get it, but I will definitely get it, and you will definitely get it, guys. The only thing is that you have to think that you can pass it. People who are sitting in India or maybe Pakistan or maybe some other countries, and if you are thinking that one day you will go to US, one day you will go to Canada, one day you will go to Australia, you will go. But if you stop thinking about that, okay, I don't know whether I will be able to do the GRE or not. I will not apply to the university, I don't know. I was the last student in the class. I failed in first year in the anatomy, second year I failed in the physical therapy. Whether the university will take my admission or not, whether I should apply it or not, whether I will have the enough finance to support myself or not, whether my parents will agree to or not. If you start thinking that, you will not come up with a solution. But if you start thinking positive, that I have to go to US, definitely you will start getting the solutions. Maybe you start working hard. Okay, my English is not better, but I have to improve it for the GRE. You will start reading things. Anywhere you will see the things, you will start focusing on it. That okay, what is the meaning of this word? What is the meaning of that word? Okay, how to solve this math problem so I can take my GRE. Where I can arrange my finances. Okay, my parents does not have the money, but I can go to the bank and I take the loan. You will start talking to the people. If I get a loan for 10 lakhs rupees, I will be able to pay it back? Yes, you can pay it back. Why not? So once you start thinking positive, the things will occur in your favor. There is solution for everything, but we are not looking at the solution. We are looking at the problem. So what I want all of you guys to know that anybody who is taking the classes, or it's not about the classes, anybody who is not even taking the classes, anybody who is determined to get somewhere, you will get there, guys. You have to just only focus on the positive thing. You cannot just rely, or you cannot just think about the negative things. Alright guys? or whatever happened in the past, that is happened already. You cannot think about it. Alright guys? So you are all going to pass the exam. You are all going to pass the exam. You are all going to get there. Alright guys? You have to just start thinking in the right direction. You will get it. What about the suggestion about the question reading? I can't complete the exam in time. You have to improve your analytical skill. Now it's very easy for me to say that you have to improve your analytical skill. But only thing what you can get there is that you have to do more and more questions. Anywhere you come across the question, you have to read the question and you have to start assessing the question. You have to start thinking what is required part in the question, what is not required. Means there may be whole story, the question may be like a whole big story, but there may be few things which may not be useful at all, few things which are useful. So once you start analyzing those things, right, it will be easy for you to understand, because there may be possibility that once you read the question you did not understand, then you will go back and read it again. Maybe you will go back and read it again. So if the same question you are reading 3 times, if you read it good or if you read it correct at the first time itself, then you will not have to spend the time to read it again. So that is one of the strategies, that you have to understand what you're reading. Don't just read for the sake of reading. Try to understand each and every line also. Alright guys? And there will be possibility that some question might take 2 minutes, some question might take more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. But then there will be some questions which will be easier questions. So you will compensate that time somewhere else. So if a question is taking 2 minutes, there may be possibility that everyone else who is taking the exam, all those people are taking 2 minutes for the same question. It may not be only you actually, but then there are some easy questions also which are only fact based, which are only depending upon the information you have. You don't have to analytical think about it. So you can cover those times somewhere else. So always there will be few questions or more than few questions which might take more time, but there will be questions that there will be very easy questions. So you will compensate that time somewhere. And again, when you do more and more and more questions, when you start analyzing the question, and for that you have to have the good knowledge grip. You have to have good knowledge about everything, whatever question you're taking. Once you have the knowledge, then you may not have to go back and read the question again. So that is also, your knowledge will support it. Alright guys? So more and more practice of the question will make it easier or the better. Alright. That's also very normal to forget things. It's very normal. Means you're not Rajnikant, that you can keep everything, you will remember. You're not robot or computer. You will forget. You're a human. You will forget things. But how we can make it not to forget it or forget less is by repetition of the same thing. By practicing again and again the same thing. Means if I will ask you today, studying after 8 years. Well, at least that is the positive thing, that you studied before 8 years. There were students who did not study in the BPT at all. They did not study for 8 years and they still passed the exam. So at least you are studying before 8 years. So it's alright. It's alright guys. So once you start, even though you start from the scratch, even you start from zero, you can get there. I have known the people who are completely zero. They started from scratch, although they were a physical therapist. They passed the exam, everything. They did not study for like 10, 11 years. They got married, kids, all the other responsibilities. Never practiced it. But they passed the exam. So you all will pass the exam. Only the repetition. Only thing is the repetition of the thing. Alright guys? That will happen until the last day. Maybe before going to the exam, you will think that, oh, I have to read that. So that is never ending thing. That is never ending thing. But Ideally, you should be able to finish, a week before or a few days before the exam. Last minute revision will always be there. But if you're doing the last minute revision, that does not mean that you don't know the thing. It is just the exam stress and the tension we have that we keep reading. But definitely before 24 hours before the exam, you should not study anything. And when you will look at the questions here, guys, of the student, you will think that, oh, this is my condition. What he is asking or what she is asking, I also feel the same thing. Which means we are all in the same boat. We are all the same. The people who have passed the exam are also the same where you are right now. Yes? So, don't worry guys, you will all pass. Now let's come back to balance and coordination. Sorry for taking your time, but yeah. Therapy aid questions, you should start when you complete all the videos and syllabus. Once you take the class completely once, then you can start solving the questions. Ankit sir will tell you that when to start the questions. So in his strategy class, he will plan everything for you guys. He will tell you guys. When I was preparing, I was doing my master's in US. I was a graduate research assistant, so I had a job also along with my master's. I was working in a motel in the night just to pay for my internship, traveling of my internship. So I was doing all this. So I was getting maybe 4 or 5 hours after that. But I was very consistent. And that time there was no NPT study buddy. There were no teachers. So we had a group of students. We used to study together in the library. So maybe 4 or 5 hours every day with the job and everything. And then again your pre exams and everything were there. So it was difficult actually a little bit, but it went through. All of us we passed the exam. One of us failed in first attempt, but he passed in the second attempt. Two of them passed in second attempt. So yeah, maybe 4 or 5 hours. Some day nothing at all. But I will not suggest you that we don't study at all, because there were days when I could not even open the book. There were days that when I go back and I will realize that, oh, whatever I've studied in the last week, I've forgotten everything. And then that makes me so frustrated. But then again, you have to start. You cannot stop. The only thing is, the only constant is the change. So you cannot, things will change. Things will change. You have to just keep working in the same direction. There may be days that you will just sit and cry that you cannot do it. There would be days that you will have fight in your family. There will be days that you will come across some sad news or something. So, and that is, trust me, that what you are going through, everyone else has gone through the same, and everybody else who is coming behind you, they will also go through the same thing. It is not only happening with you. Any good thing, any bad thing, it is happening with everyone. We are all in the same boat, not just for the exam, but for all of the life. So, sorry guys, I go too much philosophical sometimes, but yes, everyone is the same. It is just the consistency. It is just like how much you are dedicated, and it will pay off. It will pay off. I passed in first attempt, yes. Passed in my first attempt without taking classes. I mean, like, and that's when we started thinking that there should be classes for it. So, all right. So, balance and coordination. So, what is balance? Yeah. Let's just take 15 more minutes, then we'll take a break. So balance is like, if you define the balance in a short in a very simple definition, it is just to maintain your center of gravity within your base of support, right? That is the balance. Maintaining the center of gravity within your base of support. If your center of gravity go out of your base of support, imaginary base of support, you are going to fall. So balance is making a balance between all the muscles of the body. Coordination is a different thing, balance is a different thing, right? So balance is just maintaining all the forces or the resultant of all the forces equalizing each other. So your center of mass is not, or your line of gravity is not falling out of your base of support, right? Yes. So that is the balance, right? Now there are different kind of a postural control. When we start losing the balance, there are different kind of a postural control. So what are the different kind of a postural control we have, guys? What are the different kind of a postural control we have? Before that, if you look at the balance, right? If you look at the balance, it is the combination of all these three things. So how do we maintain the center of gravity within our base of support? So there is a sensory perceptual system or the sensory system. What comes in the sensory system, guys? What comes in the sensory system? Somatosensory, then vision and vestibular. So these three systems, and in the somatosensory, what will be the somatosensory? What is the meaning of somatosensory? The tactile, your proprioceptors, pain, right? So all this thing will come into your somatosensory. Vision is vision, vestibular is in the inner ear. So all these three sensory system will constantly they will supply the information to the brain, they will send information to the brain about the body position. Even the vision will tell the information to the brain about the body position, or something is coming towards you, so you will see, so how you have to change the posture in order to did something, or vision also give the whatever is not given by the proprioceptor, so vision will compensate for those things. So vision is also very important in maintaining your balance. Then you have the vestibular system. It is coming from the semicircular canals of the inner ear. So we'll do the vestibular system also in complete detail. Alright guys, the whole vestibular system also will study. So but right now we'll just use the term vestibular system. So all these three systems, because the vestibular system is in the inner ear, so it tells more about the position of the head. So if I turning my head on this side, so which muscle need to contract it to maintain the balance? If I turning my head forward, or if I'm moving, even if you're moving with the acceleration, up or down or forward, backward, the fluid inside your inner ear, the vestibular system moves up and down, it goes forward, backward. So it tells your brain about the position of the body, whether I'm accelerating, whether I'm going with this constant velocity, whether I'm going up and down in the lift, whether I'm turning my head left and right, whether I'm tilting my head. Everything is taken to the brain. So it is like a system which is telling your brain that in which direction your body is moving. Maybe when I'm sitting, so my proprioceptors are not moving, or maybe just the joint position sense of the static sitting is getting there. But let's say if I'm sitting in the car and car is going with so much of acceleration, so the fluid inside my inner ear will move actually with the acceleration, and it will tell the brain that I'm sitting on something which is moving with the acceleration. So I might fall back. So in order to prevent that, brain will automatically contract my anterior group of muscle. So if I'm going up in the lift, down in the lift, or the elevator, so that vestibular system, the fluid inside the vestibular system will move in a certain direction, right? It controls all the plane, x, y, and the z axis, and the x, y, z plane. It will cover all the planes. So anywhere, even in the combination of those planes, if you're moving somewhere, it complete all the three-dimensional structure of your or the movement of the plane. where your body is moving, and accordingly your muscle will contract. So that is the vestibular system. So these all three systems are only sending the information to the brain about the position of the body, about the position of your movement, about the acceleration, deceleration, whatever you are having. Then all the sensation will get processed at the higher center. So when it goes to the proprioceptors, it will goes to the parietal lobe. From parietal lobe, it will go to the again your cognitive part where you have to take a decision, and definitely your basal ganglia will start the movement, right? It will go to your it will go to your cortex, and your pyramidal and extrapyramidal tract will get activated. It will take the coordination from the cerebellum. So all this thing will combine. All this thing will combine, and then your motor system. Then they will supply the information to the motor system that which muscle need to contract, which muscle need to relax, how I have to maintain the balance. So it's a complex integration of all. Right? It's a complex integration of all. And one time, if something happens, then their programming will stay in the brain actually. Right? This is like computer programming that if I made the PowerPoint once, then that PowerPoint will be stayed. You'll ask me some question, I will enter that PowerPoint and that thing will come. So I don't have to go and think about everything again. So that is also there. And for that reason, when the kids are there, right, when they fall on the small thing, but when they do the same thing, the brain get used to that thing, or brain make a programming for that thing that okay, once I fall in this direction, I have to activate this group of muscle. Once I do the head in this direction and I start falling, I have to activate this group of muscle because this has happened in the past also. So I have the programming ready for it. I have to just send it to the people or send it to the muscle. So that also happens. So this whole system, it's a whole complex interaction which maintain the balance. Now there are postural control. When we start losing the balance or how we control our posture, there are different kind of a postural control. So can you guys tell me that what are the different kind of postural controls? Reactive, reactive postural control. What else? Proactive and adaptive. What is the meaning of reactive postural control? What is the meaning of reactive postural control? So it is in reaction to something. It is in reaction to loss of balance. It is in reaction to some stimulus, right? So if I'm standing and somebody is coming and pushing me, I'm starting falling forward. Then in reaction to that, my muscles will get activated and I will try to maintain my balance, right? So it is in reaction to something. If I'm standing and in a bus and bus start moving and I start falling back, then I will control it. So there is a reactive to something in reaction to a external perturbation. The proactive, which is the proactive, we have discussed that before also. Proactive. What mechanism was that? Feed forward mechanism, yes. Anticipatory, right? So proactive is the anticipatory, that an individual's prior experience allow the various element of the postural control system to pre-tune for the upcoming movement using the feed forward mechanism, right? So it's a pre-tune. Remember, I told you that if you see the snow or the ice outside, or and when you step on the snow or on the ice, which is you will, even before you're getting a perturbation or before you start falling, you will be pre-tune your muscle before that, right? Or if you look at the wet floor, you will pre-tune your muscle so you don't fall. So it is the proactive postural control, depending upon previous experience, because you know that you were on the ice before and you scared and you fell, or so depending upon your previous experiences, right? It is a proactive or pre-tune control for the upcoming movement, right guys? Like when you sit in the car, inside the car, when the car is moving or when the car is stopping, so you pre-tune yourself to get that jerk or to sustain that change in the pressure or change in the force, so you don't fall. So there is a reactive, there is a proactive, then comes the adaptive postural control. What are they adopting? What are the adaptation they are having? So it is changing, modifying the sensory and the motor system. So when your environment is changing, when your task is changing, automatically according to the change in task, your different system will, some system will get activated more, some system will get activated less. And mainly this is your sensory system, modifying the sensory system, both sensory and motor, but mainly the sensory system. So when we have the three sensory system, your vision, proprioception and the vestibular, in any condition when one of the system get compromised or one of the system get challenged, when one of the system is not working, automatically other system will start sending more impulse or more information to the brain. So they are adopting to change in the environmental condition and to change in the task. So this is one of the very important thing which we are going to discuss. Alright guys, the reactive postural control we how do we control it? By the ankle strategy, by the hip strategy, right? Once we start having the perturbation, then this ankle and the hip strategy will get activated and it will control your balance. In the adaptive, it will change the thing. Maybe vision, vestibular and the somatosensory, when they are all working equally, when something get compromised, other system will send more information to the brain to make sure that brain is getting all the information. Is this clear guys? We'll discuss more about it so you will know what I'm saying actually. Are you guys ready for a question guys? We'll just take one question here. It will occur suddenly, it should occur suddenly, but sometime if it may fail actually to react also, so, and that's the reason we fall. So guys, remember, guys, understand that these are the normal mechanism, but things can go beyond this. And what will happen that when they are out of the control of any of this, you will fall, right? So when somebody is, so this is, it's not necessary that they will control everything all the time. They will not be able to control this system and you will fall. So when you are falling, which means that this either these things are not working or they work and the perturbation was excessive so much that the reactive postural control could not control it, or the change in the condition, because even though you have the proactive postural control, it will not be making sure that once you start walking on the snow, you will not fall. You may even fall actually. Right? Yes. So I will give you the example of the adaptive. This whole class we are going to talk about the adaptive postural control only. So we'll come to it in a minute. So let's take this question here. Not this one. Sorry. We'll do the question, but not that one. I think that question is not here on the screen. Let's take this question here actually. Just read this question, guys, and you can answer in the chat box. You can answer the question in the chat box. Alright. So I will change the question. I will discuss it. Alright. I will put another question here. Are you guys all done answering the question, this one? Alright. I will just put one more question and then we'll discuss both together. What about this question? Alright. Let's take this here. So you have three systems. Assessments, somatosensory, I will just use the word assess now. Then we have the vision, and then you have the vestibular. Alright, all these three are helping to maintain the balance. Or all these are sending the information to the brain. So what happens that whenever there is any change in the environment, let's say the light is changing, or your vision is changing because of some reason, or you have to move your body so your vestibular is getting affected,